Yvonne Pereira case. Unusual coincidence. Let us begin our reading by presenting at least one unusual coincidence. The text below is part of an article in Reformador magazine from Federação Espírita Brasileira, page 23, published in February 1982, but according to the article, written by Yvonne Pereira in 1973. About Yvonne Pereira, she wrote important works through her mediumship that are respected and extremely appreciated among Spiritisms. How, and with a wealth of detail, could she describe that to draft her books, they used the method that today, in the 21st century, Metaverse proposes as a teaching methodology to facilitate student learning? Let's remember one of the goals of Metaverse, focused on education. Other examples of education applied to the Metaverse are in Meta's imagined version. In a launch video, there is a scene in which a student receives assistance with her astrophysics homework by using her hands to manipulate a huge image of the solar system. If you studied astrophysics, you could study in the multiverse, says the video's narrator. In this video, there is a student walking through ancient Rome, thanks to immersive experience devices, with virtual reality glasses and headset. Imagine being on the street listening to the sounds, visiting the markets, the narrator encourages, getting a sense of the pace of life over 2,000 years ago. Imagine learning how the Roman Forum was built, watching it being built right in front of you. Now, let's read a fragment of what Yvonne do Amaral Pereira said in an interview to Reformador magazine. On the process of receiving mediumistic works, Yvonne Pereira explains. To receive these books, the novels and memoirs of a suicide, their spiritual authors removed my spirit from the material body. They took me with them to the afterlife or to the country where the action would take place, Portugal, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and some environments of the invisible world. Thus, I got to know some landscapes of the spiritual world in foreign earthly countries, where the romantic action would take place, in various times and centuries. In these places I watched the play being written by the spiritual authors, with all the details, felt the emotions of all the characters, saw beautiful colors, saw myself in all the scenes, but did or said nothing, and heard an unknown voice narrating the drama with indescribable precision and charm, but without seeing the narrator, and heard everything his characters said. In this way, I witnessed the famous slaughter of the Huguenots in France in 1572, with details unimaginable by all of us. I watched scenes of the Inquisition in Portugal, in the 16th century. I visited medieval and Renaissance castles. I penetrated the Louvre Palace in Paris, as it must have been in the time of Catherine de' Medici. The icebergs of Russia, learned about the life of its peasants, and the splendor of the nobility that existed there during the empire. I have known dens of misery and pain everywhere. I have penetrated dark regions of the lower astral and consoling ambiances of the intermediate astral, etc., etc. I can say that the other world resembles our earth, but it is more beautiful in the intermediate and good regions. There everything is pleasant and beautiful and artistic. I finally lived with my spirit guides, as if I had also disincarnated, or so, and reviewed many passages from the historical past quoted in my books, as if they were about the present. After all these visions, the spiritual authors of the books shown came back and wrote them down, and I transmitted them with great ease, because I already knew the plot and details. Annotations made by the medium on July 30, 1973, and published in the Reformador of February 1982. Given this case, which is duly documented, and should the reader wish to check it out, it is possible to access one of these presented below. Direct on page 23 Reformador magazine February 1982. Reformer Collection I. Reformer Collection II. Information from Brazil in 1982. Note the extreme similarity between what Yvonne Pereira described about publishing several works, her learning processes, so that she could put them on paper, and what we are currently trying to apply in the education sector, in the Metaverse. At that time, remembering, in Brazil there wasn't even a conception, by the population, of what information technology was. Internet, then, much less. Only a few people knew anything about the subject. But, to better analyze the issue, we must remember that the publication occurred in 1982, being the text written by writer Yvonne Pereira in 1973.